It is time for what should be an awesome match of professional StarCraft 2. What I got for you today is a Zerg vs Protoss played on Ascension to IRLE. Now before we jump into it, in case you're unfamiliar, I try and upload near daily StarCraft content. So if you haven't already and you enjoy the videos, do make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload future videos, which is, like I said, pretty much every single day. Regardless though, spawning in the southeast corner of the map, playing with the red Zerg drones, we've got none other than the Zerg known by the name of Rogue. And his opponent, spawning in the cross position and playing with the blue Protoss probes, he goes by the nickname of Hero. Now both of these players are extremely good at what they do. I mean, I've introduced Hero many of times on the channel already. He's probably the best Protoss in the world right now, in particular together with stats. It's swapping places back and forth, but he is one of the very best, if not the very best Protoss players in the world right now. I mean, the guy's an absolute monster. The same can kind of be said for Rogue. I mean, I would probably consider Rogue to be like a top 3 Zerg player for all of 2017 already. But interestingly enough, in particular over the last few weeks, this guy looks to be on an absolute roar. Like, the fact of the matter is that every single game that I've seen him play so far this month, he doesn't really seem to be losing, which is kind of fascinating. I mean, sometimes it takes a long time, even for like the pro players at this level, right? Before things will truly click, but we may very well have arrived at a point where Rogue is gonna start dominating. Now, of course, that is all hypothetical. I can't really tell you that for certain, but the guy does most definitely seem on point, and all of a sudden everything seems to click together. So keep an eye out, at the very least, for the player known by the name of Rogue. The guy's a monster. Anyway, he's gonna, of course, try and build up that early game economy. Of course, Zerg, generally speaking, is looking to take at least 50 or so workers by the 5-minute mark. Rogue is actually quite well known for having some solid defense, but he also goes for a lot of like counterattacks to his opponent's economy as well, which is rather interesting. This is something that we didn't really see until just a couple of months ago. Normally it was just a Protoss player trying to slow down the Zerg's economy, but now Zerg has figured out like clever little ways, in particular now that the Baneling openers have become a lot more popular. Zerg has figured out quite a couple of clever ways to deal a bunch of damage with, for example, Zergling drops and then also Baneling drops as well, because most of the professional Zergs are now entirely skipping out the Roach Warren. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Hero did indeed go for his tech of choice. Now, he is indeed going for that Twilight Council, and he's already hiding a probe out in the corner of the map as well. Now, there is usually a quick Overlord speed upgrade as well for Rogue. He's already got link speed coming in. The drones are still in the gas geyser. And then indeed, we do see the Novatized Carapace research going down inside of that natural expansion. So this is going to be rather interesting. Rogue does have all of the means here to be able to figure out exactly what's going on. And I wonder actually, this Overlord is already heading awfully close to this probe. Now, I'm assuming this is going to be a gateway. Just a simple gateway, so he can go for, indeed, that quick Adept upgrade. Hero looking to go for some early game pressure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to transition towards a reasonably quick third base as well, so he can continue building up this economy. 2 gateways only so far, though. It's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot. First Adept now already made his way across the map. He's going to try and at the very least see what he can do. So far, not really dealing a whole lot of damage. And actually, let's see. Did Rogue scout that? Oh, man. He just barely did not see that. And look at this scouting pattern of the Overlord, right? I mean, Rogue is clearly looking for any kind of potential proxies that the Protoss player could be going for. Now, at the same time, of course, Overlords are also floating inside of the main of the Protoss player. I was just going to say, I wonder what the tech of choice is going to be here for Hero. But with 2 Stargates going down, I'm assuming this is going to be the good old Protoss Adept Phoenix style. Now, Adept Phoenix is one of those compositions that's extremely strong, but also very difficult to properly execute. I think that only a handful of Protoss players in the world can actually effectively do it like the way Hero does it. For example, oftentimes you try and shade in with the Adepts, right? You force the drones away from the safety of their Spore Crawler, and then the Phoenixes come in to try and pick up all of those drones that run away from it. It's just that both the Adepts as well as the Phoenixes, they're not particularly tanky, so you do have to be quite on point here. Now, Rogue does recognize here, upon seeing that there's no quick third base, that something fishy is going on. He's already producing the +1 attack. I did just see a round of Queens on that production tab as well, and he's already making a lot of links here too, which is rather interesting. He's going to be capable of picking this up. Even though he hasn't seen the proxy, he knows that something is not quite right. Now, Adepts, 5 of them, will be able to shade into that natural, and this is going to be a potential huge loss here for the Zerg player. A couple of links apparently made their way inside of the main as well of the Protoss now that the gatekeeper was indeed gone. 3 probes did end up dying there, but the Adepts are just simply going to continue onwards with the shading shenanigans, right? They're dealing a whole lot of damage already, and Rogue so far is taking a bunch of losses already. Now the Queens, oh, look at that positioning on the Queens. Oh my god, that was brilliant positioning. He knew that the Protoss would more than likely try and head towards the 3rd base there. And he put the Queens there to intercept, but also to be able to push the natural if that turned out to be the positioning that they were going for. That is one of the highest level moves you can make as a Zerg player. Like, anticipating the movement of your opponent. I mean, those Queens, I probably would have sent them in the main base, right? To try and help defend against that, but then you wouldn't have been able to catch them like that. That was a brilliant little move there from the Zerg player. Now, Overlords are still floating across the map now, even though Phoenixes are... you know, already roaming here as well. There's that Baneling coming in as well as the lair here for Rogue. I wonder if he's gonna go for some drop shenanigans here, which he's been doing quite a bit of as of late in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup, but he does need to be careful. More and more Adepts are indeed being warped in, and, you know, there's still no 3rd base. Normally you see that 3rd base for Protoss go down at like 3.5 to 5 minutes. So Hero is already about 1.5 minutes or so late right now on that 3rd Nexus, which is gonna come into play very quickly. Now indeed, we do see that Overlord Cocoon morphed in here. So even though he knows he's gonna be under some pressure, he's gonna run some Zerglings across here as well and load them up into that Overlord. I love that move. At the same time though, I mean, the Phoenixes are here and the Adepts are shading in. Are they gonna commit? I mean, there's a lot of Banelings there. That is a risk. No, he's gonna end up canceling that shade in there. He's looking for a better angle, but... well, at the same time, I mean, Rogue has indeed snuck out a handful of links. He's now also sending a bigger chunk of Zerglings towards that 3rd base positioning here instead. So he's going to try and do some double-pronged harassment of his own, but he's got to be very careful. With a slight overextension, right, these Phoenixes and Adepts can deal a lot of damage. How well will Hero be able to defend against this? Beautiful control so far. Look at that micro backwards there on those sentries. He's going to warp in another sentry as well. Photon overcharge will shut that down for a little while longer, but he did not expect these units to go inside of the main base here, and a lot of these probes will end up dying. Look at them. They're all getting killed here. That is a very big loss, but at the same time, the Adepts are now shading in. Queens caught out of position, and while the Zerglings are still going to town, right, the Adepts are just simply going to try and do as much damage as they can. Gotta be very careful. Beautiful splits right there, making the best of the Adepts that are currently located right here. And this is what I was talking about. Look at them. Look at them. The Adepts, like, forcing those drones away from the safety of that Spore Crawler, and then the Phoenixes loop in. I mean, that is 11 drones that got picked up in just a matter of seconds, and the Adepts are not done just yet. He's not warping in any new ones, at the very least not the ones offensively, but he is picking up a ton of workers, and this is starting to be a bit of a slaughter. I mean, look at this. 26 probes, or rather 26 drones ended up getting killed here, and then 18 drones as well. Or 18 probes as well. Sorry, I turned that one... well, I guess I turned that one around. But regardless, I mean, look at that. So many workers ended up getting killed in this game already. And that is just because Rogue, he ended up seeing pretty much everything on this map, right? With the exception of this tiny little dark spot where indeed the gateway was hidden. Slight mistake there by him, and I mean, Hero immediately went for the pressure, and it worked out very, very well. Now, this is the issue though. This is the issue right here for the Zerg player. Beautiful move by Hero, making the best of the units that he's got. Usually Phoenixes, they drop off after a little while, right? Once the Hydra count and the Queen count and what's not start building up, the Phoenixes are not that useful anymore, but they're still very good at picking up these workers, and they did that extremely well. On top of that, there is now a 3rd base available for the Protoss player, and he is looking very, very menacing. Chrono boosting out 3 of these units at once. That is most definitely what you are looking for. Now, we do see an Overlord Cocoon currently being morphed in here, as well as 4 Zerglings hiding off in the corner. I wonder exactly what his plan is going to be here. I'm assuming it's going to be something along the lines of a Baneling drop, which is his... yeah, that's going to be something that could potentially turn the tides here, depending on how good the defense of the Protoss is going to be. But the Phoenixes, I mean, they're not done, right? They're just going to continue picking up workers, and this is so annoying for a Zerg player to deal with. Brilliantly done here by Hero. He will also scout out now that there is indeed going to be a 4th base up, but now we do see an Overlord filled up with Banelings, and this could potentially deal a lot of damage. Currently, there's no defense here available whatsoever. we do see Hero making that transition towards the High Templar and then also the double Immortal. So he's still arriving at the Archon Immortal composition that's so very standard. Now there are 2 photon cannons right now coming in. The Zerglings are distracting all of the Protoss units at the 3rd base, and the Overlord will be able to drop off every single last of these Banelings inside of that mineral line. Beautiful move there by Rogue once again, trying to make the best of this situation. And while he was previously not looking that great when it came to the worker count, right now it is 72 drones versus 54 probes. So effectively right now, right, we're looking at a reasonably standard game here. Now, Hero, supply-wise, is still looking very scary. He's playing this out brilliantly, right? I love the way that Hero has got this like tiered level of play at his game, right? He started up with the Adepts, then he transitioned towards the Phoenixes, and then eventually he still arrives at the Archon High Templar Ball with the support of the Immortals as well. So it's rather interesting, right? Plus, on top of that, he's still got the double Stargates here, so he can later on switch into, in particular, of course, those carriers and potentially even Tempests if he needs them, if his opponent is planning to go for Brute Lord. So a lot of potential right there by Hero. Love the way he's playing this out, with the exception of maybe him losing, you know, all of those workers, you know, to those Zergling drops and then also the Baneling drops. But that's precisely what Rogue does, though. He tries and contain the Protoss' economy in the same way that Protoss tries to contain the Zerg's economy. And it's a very difficult way of playing, but Hero has done a reasonable job at defending so far, but he's done a lot of kills himself as well. Still actually roaming the map with all of these Phoenixes, just simply picking up all of these Morphins and all of these Cocoons and all of these Overlords that are trying to hide in corners, really like denying the Zerg's vision. I mean, at this point, Zerg knows that it's gonna be 4-base Protoss, but that's about it, right? It's hard to say exactly what the composition of the Protoss is going to be at this point in the game. Apparently, Zerglings, all of them, are being lifted up. And every single last of them is being killed. So beautiful play there by Hero, continuously moving around with these Phoenixes. And while he's not building any new ones, he's still trying to make the best of this situation. Another Overlord drop, though. Looks like it may very well be coming in here in just a little bit. While all of these Hydras and Phoenixes are playing Ring Around the Rosie, there is a potential now for a timing attack here, too. I mean, if we have a quick look at the upgrade count, it's a +2 attack right now for the melee units. So that's very, very strong. That means that these Banelings and Zerglings do additional damage. The question is, though, yeah, there's no centrifugal hooks just yet. So Rogue is not going to be able to roll in these Banelings just yet. And I love this. Look at that. Hero going for the Fleet Beacon here, going for the charge upgrade, and really displaying this super powerful Death Ball kind of army composition, right? Playing a hyper aggressive early game and then transitioning towards full-on macro. Rather than going all in with the early game pressure, he was like, nope, I'm going to take a late 3rd base and then a very quick 4th, and that way I'm going to be alright. Look at this. Only Hero does this, right? Goes for Phoenixes in the early game, and he just continuously, you know, makes use of them. I mean, it's a couple of Banelings, but before you know it, those Banelings blow up all of your probes, right? It's a rather big deal. Now, speaking of which, there is once again a threatening Overlord here trying to do whatever damage it can. Beautiful pickup there, though. Hero will be able to see precisely what's coming in here. Once again, though, this is gonna be very, very risky here in just a second. This Overlord is just simply gonna hang out in the corner here to simply threaten any kind of potential harass. Although there is indeed gonna be a Stalker and a Photon Cannon here, and a very big amount of Protoss units as well hanging out in this corner. Now, is Protoss paying attention? He saw it just a second ago. 11 probes once again. 11 probes once again. Great move there. Great move there by the Zerg player. And now that they've got +2 attack, of course, as well, these Protoss probes will die in just a single hit. Now, even though I assumed he would be using the Fleet Beacon for carriers and potentially Tempest and all that, he's actually already making a Mothership, which I like a lot. I mean, of course, the Mothership core has been saving up a lot of energy. Now that Zerg has arrived at Hive as well, the Brute Lords are going to be a lot of trouble. But if you can just simply cloak all of your units and snipe the Overseers, you can obviously just deal with pretty much everything that the Zerg is going to try and throw at you reasonably easily. Dark Shrine also did finish up. That's going to be a very important structure here too. So Hero will be capable of warping in, you know, the... well, look at that. Once again, a lot of Hydras, actually. Ooh, I thought those were Banelings, but no, those are Hydras. But anyway, there's going to be the potential warp in here with Dark Templar as well that can pick up a lot of these bases quite easily. Now, it looks like we have arrived at the point, though, where Protoss wants to move across. I mean, the Mothership is done right now. Protoss is near maxed out. There's a couple of Swarm Hosts now dealing some damage here as well. I wonder if that is a misclick. But while the Protoss is moving across the map, right, Banelings are being morphed in, and Hydras will be dropped off inside of the main base of the Protoss player. Now, at the same time, beautiful storms going down there. These Archons tanking so much of that damage. And I wonder, is that not just simply a little bit too much Protoss? Once again, these storms dealing huge amounts of damage, but still, these Hydras are going to town. They are picking up a lot of important tech structures, but they're also killing a lot of the economy here from the Protoss player. War Prism making his way inside of the main as well. It's gonna start dealing damage right now to the more important tech structures here of the Zerg player. And of course, that mothership, it can teleport back home at any given moment here if he wants to, right? But I love this drop play though. Hydras dropped off inside of the main base. The question is, does Rogue have enough to eventually clean this one up? Once again, storms going down, dealing so much damage here to that Zerg army. Mothership will end up getting picked up, and all of a sudden, Protoss is indeed plummeting when it comes to the supply count. Zealots, however, are still dealing a lot of damage here. These Zerg units are not going to be able to close the distance very easily, and they can't quite group up together, but these Immortals are starting to run extremely low. They're starting to run very, very low, and I think that the Queens indeed will be able to pick them up with the support of the Hydralisk as well. 26 drones ended up getting killed there, but I have to be honest. I've never really seen players go for a Hydralisk drop, right? But these 8 or so Hydras that he split off, I mean, they are... Look at that! Whoa! We've got over 120 workers killed. Like, 130 workers killed in this game. Like, in total. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely insane. I gotta be honest, though. I like this a lot. I haven't seen players do this. A Hydralisk drop in the late game to go for the counterattack. I mean, he did the same thing just now previously, right? Trying to go after that Templar Archives. A little bit risky, but he does eventually get it there. And at the same time, Zerglings are now moving across the map. It is 103 army supply, or 103 supply for the Zerg player in total versus 82 of the Protoss rather. But still, these Hydras are dealing so much damage. I mean, there's no denying here that Rogue is dealing a lot more damage here than the Protoss is used to. I don't think that Hero has seen this a whole lot, and while the Protoss army moves towards that base to intercept these Hydralisks, immediately Zerglings swoop back in towards that 4th base location, and they kill more and more and more of these workers. Now Hydras, I'm assuming they're gonna eventually die. There we go. We do see an Archon dropped off, so, you know, that's gonna be the last of that, but they ended up paying for themselves very, very nicely. I gotta be honest, I'm really quite impressed with the way Rogue is playing this. I mean, it's some beautiful moves here as well by the Protoss player, but Rogue is playing it out brilliantly, and I wonder what Hero is gonna do. I mean, he ended up losing all of the, you know, tech here, right? No more Stargates available. Phoenix is gonna confirm here shortly that there are going to be Broodlords out, and what is he gonna do? What, are you gonna make Stalkers? Like, no. I think indeed that is going to be the best course of action. Hero sees the Broodlords and he just simply taps out. I mean, it may be a little preemptive, right? But what exactly are you gonna do anymore at this point in the game? Zerg has got all of his important tech still alive, right? Inside of that main base. Yeah, the Zerglings will be flooding the map. And if you're gonna try and warp in Stalkers, I mean, good luck trying to do that against Adrenal Gland Zerglings. Or actually, they don't quite have Adrenal Glands yet, but they do have +3 attack. So, good luck trying to do that against +3 attack Zerglings. And I mean, if you don't have your economy intact anymore, switching back to watch Stargates is nearly impossible. In particular, because these bases only have got a couple of skinny mineral patches remaining, and the Zerg is taking the entirety of the map once again. Beautiful game here in total, though. Look at that. Beautiful game here, though. But look at that in total. So many workers were dead. I mean, this is an absolute worker massacre once again. I hope you enjoyed watching this high-level match of Zerg versus Protoss. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below. And as mentioned, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. And other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.